Okay. So the first thing that just came out was the the National Post. So I'm just going to open this up here so that I don't trip on my words. Actually, corrections, the Epoch Times. The Epoch Times, and I'm sure this is going to be in some of the mainstream media, but it's definitely not going to be on page one, just FYI. Exclusive, Canadian military's COVID vaccine mandate violated charter rights, grievance review committee finds. This, in and of itself, is a massive bombshell. Here in Canada, if you're American and you're listening to this, the Charter of Rights is the highest law of the land. It's technically one step below God. The reason why it was written that way was so that it was not given to us by men, but by a higher power. The right of the individual was enshrined in law. The only issue is that if you break these quote unquote laws, it's not punishable criminally. Okay? I'm not going to get into the whole charter, but I've learned a lot about it in the last 3 years, which I wish myself and a lot of other Canadians knew a lot more about it growing up, and especially from our school system. So one thing I respect about the Americans so much is that their Bill of Rights and the Constitution are documents you will die for. Here in Canada, ours weren't born out of blood. So we have a different perspective of them. And therefore, they were able to be trounced upon and discarded as if they didn't matter. And this is so distressing because if we are not a country that abides by the rule of law, the highest law in the land, then what are we? And just to read a little bit of this report, so a military administrative tribunal has found the Canadian Armed Forces CAF COVID-19 vaccine mandate violated the charter rights of members who refused vaccination and said the policy was arbitrary in some aspects and overly broad. I conclude that the limitation of the griever's right to liberty and security of the person by the Canadian Armed Forces vaccination policy is not in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice because the policy in some respects is arbitrary, overly broad, and disproportionate, wrote Nina Frid of the Military Grievances External Review Committee on May 30th decision. Therefore, I conclude that the griever's rights protected under Section 7 were infringed. So what this means is that he who commanded this committed a serious breach of the Charter of Rights. And it says so here. And who could that be that actually made this order that said, yes, let's go with the mandate? Well, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, General Wayne Eyre. In this document, it makes it clear. General Eyre issued an unlawful command. The remedy for this is that, as Frid says, the CAF should declare that all CDS directives surrounding COVID-19 vaccination are invalid, as well as rescind all administrative actions against members as a result of the directives. Some grievers also request apologies from the CDS for the infringement on their fundamental rights. It is left to the CDS to issue such an apology if he believes it is appropriate to do so. Okay, I guess the ball is in the CDS's court now. So the CDS is not a stupid man. And I know he knew that he was breaking the law because I have the documents right here. So therefore, he willingly broke the law to initiate a punitive action against his own troops. I cannot imagine a worse situation for the Canadian Armed Forces where the highest military officer is going after its own members based on an illegal order. How do you generate trust and ensure morale from here on out? There's more. The Privy Council, this just came out as well, issued a warning, okay? And I shouldn't say the Privy Council issued a warning. There's a secret government memo that warned COVID-19 injuries and deaths could shake public trust. What does this mean? the actual data that they had on COVID injuries was massaged and made to feel less scary so that more people would take. Now, I'm just going to read this. The memo highlighted the need for cautiously handling such incidents and employing winning communication strategies. So what this means is they knew that there were issues with the vaccine. They didn't want people to know that there was a serious risk to your health. And they also didn't want you to know the risk-reward ratio. Now, what government that has your best interest in mind would ever do that? I am not a nefarious person. I am not somebody that would want ill to befall my family or people that I love, or that even people I don't know. I want you to be healthy. That implies that the government had some interest in making sure that you didn't have all the information. This is a psychological operation. You can use all the winning communication strategies, terminologies you want. This is essentially what we did when we were deployed to Afghanistan. You would take a story, you would ensure that it reflects what you want to do and achieve the commander's intent. You had to win the hearts and minds. Now this is being deployed against us to make decisions that are favorable for, in this case, I don't know. This is where the key bono aspect of things keeps on popping up. Why would you want to do this? They actively campaigned to ensure that you did not get all the information. Why? That's it. Why?